Good evening, and welcome to the Mid-Manhattan branch of the New York Public Library. Thank you for joining us this evening for tonight's presentation. Tonight's program is a discussion led by the author on the book No Fear, A Whistleblower's Triumph Over Corruption and Retaliation at the EPA. After graduating from MIT, the author landed her dream job at the EPA assisting post-apartheid South Africa. Her dream became a nightmare when she attempted to investigate a multinational corporation responsible for the deaths of hundreds of South Africans mining vanadium. She blew the whistle and suffered the fallout faced by federal employees who take on the bureaucracy. She tells the story of her struggle to bring protection to all federal employees facing retribution for telling the truth. Now, before we begin tonight's program, I have the usual requests. Please silence your cell phones, pagers, any other noisy devices that might interrupt the program. Secondly, please do not take any pictures or make any recordings this evening unless you have received prior permission from the New York Public Library Administration. And we thank you for your courtesy and consideration. Tonight's program is being filmed by C-SPAN, and consequently at the end of the program, there will be a question and answer period, and we ask you to wait for the microphone so that we can record the questions that you're asking for the program. Now, our speaker tonight is Marsha Coleman-Adebayo, PhD, founder of the No Fear Coalition, and former senior policy analyst at the United States Environmental Protection Agency. She received her BA degree from Barnard College, Columbia University, and her doctorate from MIT. In 1996, she became a federal whistleblower and filed complaints about a U.S. company mining vanadium in South Africa. With her leadership, the No Fear Coalition secured passage of the Notification of Federal Employees Anti-Discrimination and Retaliation Act, the No Fear Act. Currently, she's on the board of directors of the National Whistleblower Center, a nonpartisan advocacy group. She's been featured in several newspapers, such as the New York Times, the Washington Post, and Federal Times. In addition, joining us tonight is Tylon Usavior Washington, a Harlem native who is a filmmaker, journalist, and media activist with BW Moving Images. His third film, No Fear, features the story of whistleblower and human rights activist Marsha Coleman-Adebayo. Tonight, before the book discussion with Ms. Coleman-Adebayo starts, we have the privilege of meeting Mr. Washington and seeing part of that film. So if you please, welcome Mr. Tylon Usavior Washington.
Thank you so much. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here this evening. I want to thank Lois Moore for facilitating this event. And as a media activist, I want to thank the library here for hosting such a very important forum and discussion, especially in a climate today where people are constantly persecuted for telling the truth and speaking up. We have a culture in this country that's punishes people for doing what is true and what is right. And not on my watch is the good guy gonna finish last. So I'm taking up doing this film. Actually, this is a short. We are currently working and we're fundraising to do a much fuller piece because there are so many dimensions and there are going to be so many things that are going to be revealed in the film that you won't get in the book or you won't see here. So you can go to our website, www.bwmovingimages, to find out how, if you want to, so desire, want to be a part of the film business and help to make this film a reality. As you know, independent filmmakers and journalists, we have to do a lot of these things sometimes out of pocket, and so we have to call and actually rely on people just like you who are here tonight to get this film produced. Also, as a media activist, I have to acknowledge C-SPAN for always covering the kinds of stories that you don't see on mainstream media. Mainstream media is basically mind poison, and you can quote me on that. So, you know, when you have entities like C-SPAN who has the courage and the insight to come out and videotape these very, very important issues that are really important to all of us in here, I think that needs to be applauded. The fabric of our entire nation is dependent upon people like Marsha Coleman-Adebayo. People like her who step up and stand up for what is right, even when it's not popular or the important part of this is not safe. Because people don't know she was threatened. Her children was about to be kidnapped. Because she really was concerned about people who are the poorest of the poor, who depended on this mine to put food on the table for their families. No one else seemed to care. And she was actually encouraged to just, you know, decorate your room and be quiet, receive a wonderful check, and don't worry about it, you know. And that didn't sit right with her. And how many people in here are faced in some kind of similar situation where, you know, it's easy to just look away. It's easy to just, you know, keep your mouth shut, think about your paycheck, think about, well, you know, I don't want to make waves. I don't want to cause any trouble. I don't want to lose my job. And that's why you have Bernie Madoffs. That's why you have folks who occupy Wall Street, or something that I just saw that was so repugnant, was some peaceful demonstrators being sprayed by an officer during one of the Occupy Wall Street movements. And none of the other officers said that this is not policy. I have a feeling that if Marsha was there, that cop would have got arrested. You would have seen for the first time a police officer being arrested by another police officer. Because I think it becomes so repugnant to some people that some of these things that we see go on. I'm not going to take too much time because you're about to see 10 minutes of, like I said, a much larger piece. I guess you can get it started, and then I'll come back up if you have a couple of questions, and then introduce finally Marsha Coleman-Adebayo.
New use in the renewable energy field that is getting investors' attention, with Discover magazine calling vanadium the element that could change the world.
The drive for renewable energy has created a rush for development of efficient energy storage devices, a new generation of batteries, essentially. My next guest company produces a key element for one type of battery, the metal vanadium.
And what's very enticing is also the possibility that we'll see vanadium used in green technologies for the storage of solar power and wind power.
As a company that provides multi-megawatt energy storage solutions using, and I have no idea what this is, vanadium redox fuel cells. That's one of the coolest things I've ever said out loud.
My husband, Simon B.S. Boy Maggie, I started while
that you get sick.
Nala ka mafatla le maoto le mala. Then ka ba bolela ka ba raka re la itse re ke letsatsi la mmala ke ya le tla
I told
fitla.
them that one day it will be.
So, 5 December mna mogolo a re